Hi guys, in this tutorial we are going to see how to integrate Spring Boot application with Hibernate framework. So normally if you mark my all previous video, I used Spring Data JPA. So now we will integrate Spring with our traditional ORM. Okay, so let's do one small application on that. Let's create a Spring Boot application. Okay, now change it Spring Boot Hibernate. Okay, so Spring Boot with ORM. Okay, now change the packaging to jar. Next, add the required dependency. I am adding MySQL, DevTools, adding the JPA. So if I will add the JPA dependency, it internally adds all required Hibernate dependency as well. So I am adding wave, I am adding Lombok. Anything else? Now let's import it. Change the version. Actually in this one is the latest one, 2.0.1. There is some issue, so I am using the old one. Let's import our application. Application imported successfully. Okay, we added only the dependency JPA and Lombok DevTools. Data JPA, web DevTools, MySQL connector. Okay, normally when we are using like traditional Spring MVC approach to integrate with Spring MVC with ORM, we are using Spring Bean configuration file. So here we can write any XML file. So for that we will do the Java based configuration file to map our persistence related component like data source, session factory, transaction manager. So first configure our database related things. So create a package, directly create this class, api.config dbconfig. So first I need to add my driver class, URL, username, password and dialect. So let's copy those things in my properties file. Okay, this is my schema name and this is my dialect. Okay, so now load that properties file using property source annotation. Property source, then value equal to, this one is the string array. So class path application dot properties. Okay, now get the value private string driver class, private string URL, private string username and password. Okay, so how can we get the value from properties file? There is two way. Either we can use the environment attribute or else we can use the @ value. Okay, so I am using here @value. Okay, then pass the proper key which you mention in your properties file. Okay, similarly add for, so copy the key from properties file, jdbc dot driver class name, similar way url username password. Change your url, username, then add one more field, that is for dialect, private string. Okay, add this, copy the proper key. Now this value will load from our properties file. So first step, we need to create the data source. Okay, data source, get data source. Okay, annotate this as @configuration, as it is the Java based configuration approach. Okay, so annotate here @bin, then create the driver manager data source. Okay, here we can pass the url, username, password, then data source dot set, change it to implementation class instance, then data source dot set driver class name is our driver class. Okay, now return this data source object. Now as we are going to integrate with Hibernate, so Hibernate have some properties which we need to add, that is like dialect and like auto creation of table and show SQL. So let's create a properties, public, return a properties collection, Hibernate properties. Okay, so create a properties object, then we'll put the value on that, props equal to, okay, now return these properties. Okay, now add the value properties dot put. Okay, key is our Hibernate dot dialect, and value populating through @value annotation, that is our dialect. Similarly, properties dot put here like Hibernate dot hbm to ddl dot auto, that is true. No, it should be the update. Similarly, add, no, it should be put. Similarly, properties dot put hibernate dot show SQL. If you want to see the query generated by ORM in your console, you need to enable this as true. Okay. Similarly, if you want to format the generated query, dot put like hibernate dot format SQL, that also you need true. Okay, so now create the session factory. Okay, so this is, make this as private, it's just we are assigning the value. Create the session factory, public session factory, create the instance of session factory, new local session bin factory. Let's use the version Hibernate 5. So change it to implementation class. Return the factory. In factory, we need to set the data source. Okay. Similarly, we need to provide the property of Hibernate. Provide the Hibernate properties. Set Hibernate properties. Then we have our method. This one. Call this method. Okay. Now here, to scan the model, we need to specify like set scan, set package to scan. Then you can pass it as a string array, because there may be a chance we have multiple model, like when we are doing the association mapping. So here we need to pass our model package. We didn't create any model yet, so let's follow our package and append the model. Dot model. Okay, now annotate @bin. As we are using Hibernate 5, we must have to write the transaction management here. Okay, public Hibernate transaction, same version we need to import here. Transaction manager, create the transaction manager object and set the session factory. Okay, transaction manager dot set session factory. We have the session factory, pass it as parameter, we will directly inject using auto air. Okay, now pass this factory here, then return the transaction manager. Okay, here annotate @bin, and as we are injecting using auto air this session factory to the transaction manager, we need to write @auto add. Okay, we created the data source, we created the session factory, we created all the Hibernate properties and transaction manager. Okay, Now let's create our model. Copy the package. I'm creating a model with name assume book. Let's create with name person. Okay, so write some field private int id, private string name, private date of birth. Okay, import the util. What happened? Date of birth. Okay, now annotate at the rate entity. As I added Lombok, I am writing setter getter provided by Lombok. Okay, then annotate at the rate id to make it primary key. Then it should be auto generated, so generated value. Now change the date format using JSON format. From postman we will pass the string, then internally it will convert to the format. Shape equal to JSON format, JSON format dot string. Okay, dot save or something. JSON format dot save dot string. Okay, then we need to specify the pattern. In which pattern you want? I want dd mm. Okay, from input we need to pass in this format. Now create our DAO. Okay, let's close all this. Create a package. DAO. Write a DAO class like person DAO. Annotate with repository. Okay, inject the session factory here. So instead of in each request getting the session object, first we'll check whether the current session is exist or not. If not, then only it will return the new session. So write a method for that. Private session. Okay, write session equal to factory dot get current session. Okay, if this session equal to null, then session equal to factory dot open session, else it will return the existing session. Okay, so now write a method to save public string, let it be void save person. Okay, and pass the person object as person. Yeah, this one. Now call the get session dot save. Okay, similar way, write a method to get list of saved record. Public list of person get persons. Okay, so create the criteria here. Get session dot create criteria of the model class, person dot class dot list. Okay, now directly return it. So as we are using the transaction management, I am writing in DAO layer at the rate transactional, but always we should write in which statement, always we should write in our service class. Okay, because one service can communicate with multiple DAO, so we should write in our service. Okay, now write the controller, create a package, controller writing person controller annotate at the rate rest controller. We need to write two methods, one is for post, another one is for get. Public string save, then pass the person object. Okay, import the person, annotate at the rate request body, annotate at the rate post mapping, then the URL save person. Okay, so inject the DAO in controller, user DAO, sorry, person DAO, DAO, annotate using auto add. Okay, now call the DAO dot save person. I'm returning some dummy value here. Similar way, write a method to get list of person. Public list of person get all persons. Okay, import the list. I'm directly return from DAO dot get persons. Okay, annotate at the rate get mapping get all Okay, so we have two endpoint. Let's test one by one. Controller, let's specify one URL here, request mapping spring ORM. Okay, boot ORM. Now let's run our application. Our application is up now on port 8080, and we have two URL which is mapped here. Okay, So first save one two object, then we will fetch them. HTTP localhost 8080. Okay, this is the post one. Application/json. We should pass the name and DOB, date of birth. ID should be the auto generated, giving the name Sam, and DOB I'm giving same format DDMMYYY format we need to pass. Date of birth I'm giving 21/03/1976. Okay, record inserted, we are getting the response success. Let's add one more, Ravi, change something like 1898. Okay, to record inserted successfully. Let's check in our database. We have this table. Let's refresh it. Person table added here. Okay, Syam and Ravi both added with the date format. From input we are giving the string, but it JSON format is converting it to the appropriate date format. Okay, so now get those records. So see, as I in Hibernate properties I mention format SQL, so it's formatting the SQL for me in console. So what is that endpoint URL? To get all this is the get type. It's giving me two object which we recently added in database. Okay, so this is the way we can integrate our Spring Boot application with our ORM tool. So that's it about this particular video. If anyone have any doubt or concern, you can add in comment section, and thanks for watching this video.